Calling all authors, the Your Book, Your Voice podcast with host Robert A. Lane features everything you need to know about narrating your audiobook, but it doesn't stop there. We have special guests lined up from all aspects of the book publishing industry, and we also dive deep into what it takes to be mentally prepared for success as an author and in life. So please welcome your host, Robert A. Lane.
Hey, my friends, how are you today? This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. RobertLaneCoaching.com is where you can find out what I do as an audiobook coach and producer, because that is what I do. This is your first time tuning in. I am an audiobook coach and producer. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV YouTube channel on our network, by the way, so glad you're here and glad you're catching the live stream. If not, that's okay too. We still have some great information for you. I am an audiobook coach and producer. I specialize in helping nonfiction authors narrate their own audiobook. If you are a nonfiction author and you have a great book that's been published, whether it's an ebook or paperback or hardcover, and you don't have it as an audiobook yet, you definitely need to. And you, as the author, need to be the one to narrate your own audiobook. Why? Because it's your story. Nobody can speak your story better than you. Nobody can tell your story better than you can. And you as the author are the only one who can really get the core meaning and purpose of why you wrote your book in the first place out there into the world for everybody to hear in your voice better than you. All right, so today's topic, by the way, is audiobook awareness. And we're going to touch on various aspects of awareness. Now, the first thing that I do want to share with you in regards to audiobook awareness, just as an author and just as a writer and publisher of your nonfiction book, is this: you are an author brand. So I'm hoping that you are aware of the fact that that's your brand. This is what you do. You are an author. You have written a great book. You've published it. It is out there in the world for everybody to read. Your voice is in your written word, and you need to embrace that. Embrace your author brand. Embrace yourself as a business, because you are a business. You are a business. You are the CEO of you. One of my infamous catchphrases. You are the CEO of you. And you need to run your business as a business. You're an author brand. Your product, of course, is your book, which no matter what format it's in, whether it's an ebook or paperback or hardcover, but audiobook, you definitely need to have your book as an audiobook. And something just to be aware of in regards to the audiobook world is that it continually grows and expands. The audiobook world is growing and expanding, and it has been for the past several years. Matter of fact, interesting stat is back in 2019, revenue for sales of ebooks versus audiobooks, revenue for audiobooks surpassed ebook revenue, which is a really interesting fact. Not that ebooks don't sell, or your paper book isn't going to sell, or your hardcover or those formats don't sell, because they do. But the fact is that the audiobook world continues to grow and expand. And if you don't have your book in audiobook form, you're missing out on a huge, huge audience. And again, since you are an author brand, this is your business, this is what you do, you need to tap into that market because you want to grow and expand your business. And growing and expanding your business by having an audiobook is the way to go. But of course, having you narrate your own audiobook is really where it comes down to preserving the integrity of your author brand. The way you write, your style of speaking, your style of your voice, as I say in your written word, is there. It's already there on the pages of your book. So when you narrate your own audiobook, you're just bringing that to life. And you're, again, expressing and telling your story the way that you intend it to be heard and that you want it to be told. Again, I'm a big advocate of having authors narrate their own audiobook. Again, I say this all the time, and that is all nonfiction authors really do need to narrate your own audiobook. You just need to do that. Again, narrators are great. There's a lot of professional narrators and voiceover people out there who do a great job. If they're a professional, they're going to do a great job. The thing is, though, with nonfiction authors, is by having another narrator, they may not tell your story the way that you want it to be heard, because ultimately it's still their interpretation. They're going to tell and narrate your story the way they interpret it, the way they think about it, the way they perceive it as they do their narration. So there may be certain aspects of your book. Maybe there are certain phrases or things that you want to emphasize, that you want to talk about, that you would say it in a different way than a narrator would. Only you would know that as the author, which is why, again, you should be narrating your own audiobook. Now, I do have an audiobook coaching program, and I'll talk more about it in detail later on in the podcast, but it is called Your Book, Your Voice, where I do take you through the journey of setting up your own recording space, recording and narrating your own audiobook, and teaching you all the tools and techniques to be authentic, to be conversational, and to be compelling and engaging, because you want your listeners to just be really engaged in your book from opening credits to closing credits. And then the next phase of it, of course, is once you record your audiobook, because you are doing it in sections as audio files, those files need to be edited, cleaned up, and made sure that they meet the exact specifications for publication. That is really, really important. So I focus on helping authors get published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. I call that the AAA. So we're going to talk more about this, by the way. We do have to take a quick break, but I do want you to stay tuned as we dive into more audiobook awareness, and I'll give you more details about getting your book published on the AAA, and of course other aspects of distribution as well. So this is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. Thank you so much for joining. We will be right back. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network.
What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery, or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation. Author, radio show host, and coach John M. Hawkins reveals strategies to help gain perspective, build confidence, find clarity, achieve goals. John M. Hawkins' new book, Coached to Greatness: Unlock Your Full Potential with Limitless Growth, published by iUniverse. Hawkins reveals strategies to help readers accomplish more. He believes the book can coach them to greatness. Hawkins says that the best athletes get to the top of their sport with the help of coaches, mentors, and others. He shares guidance that helps readers reflect on what motivates them, rediscover and assess their core values, philosophies, and competencies, find settings that allow them to be the most productive, and track their progress towards accomplishing goals. Listen to John Hawkins' My Strategy, Saturdays, 1 p.m. Eastern on the BBN Global Network and TuneIn Radio.
And welcome back to the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane, with Robert Lane Coaching. I'm an audiobook coach and producer, helping nonfiction authors turn their awesome book into an audiobook that you, as the author, narrate yourself, because only you can tell your story the best way. You're the most qualified to narrate your own audiobook. Now, before we took a break, I was talking about distribution on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books. As I mentioned, I call that the AAA. You do need to have your audiobook distributed on those platforms because those are the ones that the general public go to first. They're familiar with it. They know what Audible is. They know what Apple is, iTunes. Really, it's Apple Books. They know Amazon, right? Worldwide, everybody knows that. So they go there first to look for audiobooks. Now, there are other distribution platforms that you can be on, and maybe that works for you, and that's great. But again, you need to just decide as an author, because again, you are an author brand, this is your business. If being on other distribution platforms work for you and work for your business, then go for it. Definitely do that. But you need to definitely be on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. Those are the three, the AAA people go to, and that's where they look for their audiobooks. So that's why I focus on getting the clients, the authors that work with me in my audiobook coaching program, getting them on those distribution platforms. Now, we're talking about audiobook awareness. That is one thing that I do want you to be aware of in regards to just the audiobook world in general. One more stat that I wanted to throw out to you, which I find very interesting, because I've heard some people say that you need to read a book. You need to physically read a book to really understand and to comprehend it and to retain what you have read. There was a study done, it was about 2 or 3 years ago, that was doing a comparison basically of the retention and comprehension level of somebody who reads a book versus somebody who listens to an audiobook. And what they discovered was that the retention and comprehension level was the same. There was no difference. Their test group was able to comprehend and to retain everything that they heard with the audiobook, the same as anybody who read the book. Okay, so I just wanted to dispel a myth if you think that reading a book is better than listening to a book. That's not true. The comprehension level and the retention level is the same. Now, what a lot of people like to do, and I find that I even do this, especially with some books that you know, maybe they're self-help books or just some really good educational books or just some really good coaching books. I'll get the audiobook, and I will also get the ebook or paperback. Actually, I usually get the paperback because I like to listen to the author telling their story, sharing their knowledge, and highlighting things in their paperback as well, because it's great reference material. And you as an author, again, another reason why you need to have an audiobook, and again, audiobook awareness, right? When you have an audiobook, it can also increase your sales for your ebook and your paperback and your hardcover. So whatever other formats that your book is in, because remember, you are an author brand, these are your products, that can increase sales in the other formats of your book when people hear your audiobook, and vice versa. You know, people may have your ebook or paperback and say, oh, you know, God, it'd be really great to hear this. Do you have an audiobook? Oh, you do? Great. I want to grab that as well. So that people can still be really involved and engaged in your book, whether they're reading it or whether they're running around or maybe going for a jog or traveling, or, you know, and then they have your audiobook and they can hear you tell your story. So again, that's really important. Now, again, being aware of your marketing strategies and your marketing goals is also really important when you're doing your audiobook. So we're talking about distribution. Now, again, I mentioned about the AAA. Audible, Amazon, Apple. You do need to be on those three distribution platforms. And like I mentioned, depending on what your marketing strategy is, you may want to be distributed on other platforms. There's a lot of them. There must be at least 50 plus different distribution platforms. But you have to be smart. As a business, you need to be smart about what works best for you as an author brand. You know, there is a tendency for some authors to go, oh man, I just need to be on all these distribution platforms. I want to be anywhere and everywhere. But that may not be the best marketing strategy because it may create more confusion for people to find your book, or it just would be a better marketing strategy if you say, I'm on Audible, or you can grab my book on Apple. And again, people also ask for audiobooks by brand name, and that's another important factor to understand and to be aware of. Some people say, and people do say, hey, is your book on Audible? Or they'll say, are you on Amazon, or can I grab it on Apple? If they're looking for your audiobook. People still do say, hey, is your book in audiobook form? Yeah, they do. But now I'm finding that more and more people are asking for books by brand name. Okay. And they usually say, are you on Audible? So again, it's important to be on that distribution platform. But as I mentioned, you just need to know what your marketing strategy is. What is it that you want and what works best for you? Maybe being on, Barnes and Noble Digital, or on Chirp, or Rakuten, or being in libraries, or Google Play. I mean, there's a million places, Spotify. If those platforms are generating interest in your book and causing more sales for your book in all the formats that you have in it, especially audiobook, then definitely have your book distributed on those platforms as well. Now, being on Audible, Amazon, and Apple, there you do have a choice of either being exclusive with Audible, Amazon, and Apple, or non-exclusive. And really the main difference is the royalty payout. If you are distributed only through Audible, Amazon, and Apple, then the payout is a 40% royalty payout. If you're non-exclusive, then it's a 25% payout. So it sounds like less, but again, let's say you are having great sales, just a lot of action on people finding your book on Chirp or Barnes and Noble, or even Hoopla, or one of these other distribution platforms, then definitely put your book there, and definitely go with a non-exclusive agreement with Audible, Amazon, and Apple. Okay, because then that way you're still hitting the other platforms that are doing really well for you as an author and as your author brand, yet you are still on Audible, Amazon, and Apple as well. So you're really covering a good gamut of distribution. Now, again, you don't want to be anywhere and everywhere. Personally, for me, that's just my advice, just from what I've seen. It's almost like shiny object syndrome, right? Oh, I should be there. Oh, there's a new distribution platform. Oh, well, maybe I should try that. And you just start splitting yourself off in all these different directions, and that can become confusing for your followers and your readers and your listeners. So again, when it comes to distribution, just be aware of what works for you. Audible is great. That's what people go to. I highly recommend that. That is a platform that you are on and that you should always be on, because most people go there. The other platforms that are available for distribution, if they work for you, then definitely be on it. So that will also determine whether you're exclusive or non-exclusive in regards to being on Audible. If you're exclusive on Audible and it hits all the territories that you want to be in, and you're selling books and you're doing great, then you can be exclusive. But again, if there are other platforms like Barnes and Noble or libraries or anywhere else that works for you, then be non-exclusive so that you can go ahead and put your audiobook on any of those other platforms as well. All right. So it's just really important to be aware of that and how that works. All right. The other thing that I do want to mention is some people who haven't or not familiar with the process of creating an audiobook. Just a quick overview. When you are recording your audiobook, you are doing it in sections. Okay, it's not like you grab your book and you just start from page 1 and you're reading and reading and going on and on and on through the entire book. No, you're going to do this in sections. All right. So let's say I'll use my book as an example. I wrote this book called Lights Action You. I have 14 chapters in here. Uh, that's 14 audio files, separate audio files. Each chapter is a separate audio file when you record. Um, you have opening credits and closing credits. Those are two separate audio files. For me, I have a dedication, and I wanted to create that as a separate file, so I did. There's introduction, prologues, epilogues, forward, afterwards. There are acknowledgments. There are all these different sections of your book that would be separate audio files. Now, when it comes to doing the actual recording, it does make it a bit easier because you're not feeling pressured of having to knock out just pages and pages and pages of your book all in one sitting. You can do it a section at a time. So it does make it easier for you to do your audiobook narration. Now, the other thing, which is really important and something that you definitely need to be aware of, is consistency, right? And that's more than just the practical aspects, though the practical aspects are really important. Your mic level, okay? Um, your body positioning, having good posture, being hydrated. Those types of the practical and physical aspects are really important. Now, on the other side are the intangibles, and you need to be consistent there as well. The intangibles are the things that maybe you don't can physically touch, but you can feel your emotion, your purpose, tapping into the core reason of why you wrote your book. All right, these are the intangibles. Your energy level, very important. And again, consistency is key. So you want to be consistent throughout, from opening credits to closing credits. You want to have the same energy. You want to have the same emotion. You want to bring that through. Now, of course, as you narrate your audiobook, you will have arcs, and it will flow. And just like the written word, right? It's a journey. You're taking your listener on that journey. So you will have highs and lows of energy and emotion, and that's part of the story, and that's part of the journey, and that's what keeps the listener just really engaged into your audiobook, which is what you want. You want them to be so compelled and engaged that they can't wait to listen to the next chapter. And when they're done listening to your audiobook, they're like, wow, that thing was great. I want to listen to that again. And being consistent from opening credits to closing credits is just really important because it keeps your listener engaged 100%. Okay, so just be aware of that. And again, the other thing is this, and I run into this a lot, and it's a confidence thing. All right, some authors feel that they don't have the voice or they don't like their voice, and this is something that I talk about a lot in the audiobook coaching program that I teach about the mindset aspect, because that is really important. I want to touch a little bit on that when we come back from this quick break, and then we're going to dive into some other things that you absolutely 100% need to be aware of. Okay. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I am Robert A. Lane. I'm an audiobook coach and producer with Robert Lane Coaching. You can go to robertlanecoaching.com to find out more about my audiobook coaching program, which is called Your Book, Your Voice. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Appreciate you hanging out. Have some more great information coming your way. So don't go away.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like it was almost instant, like I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical.
Are you struggling to care for elderly parents or a spouse? Do you wonder if being a caregiver is making you sick? Are you worried about taking time off work to care for elderly parents and balance work, life, and caregiving? Has caregiving become exhausting and emotionally draining? Are you an aging adult who wants to remain independent, but you're not sure how? I'm Pamela D. Wilson. Join me for the Caring Generation radio show for caregivers and aging adults, Wednesday evenings, 6 Pacific, 7 Mountain, 8 Central, and 9 Eastern, where I answer these questions and share tips for managing stress, family relationships, health, well-being, and more. Podcasts and transcripts of the Caring Generation are on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, plus my caregiving library, online caregiver support programs, and programs for corporations interested in supporting working caregivers. Help, hope, and support for caregivers is here on the Caring Generation and PamelaDWilson.com.
All right, my friends, we are back here on the Your Book, Your Voice podcast, streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. I'm your host, Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. RobertLaneCoaching.com is my website. I've been meaning to mention this, and the great engineering staff there at Bold Brave TV reminded me, saying, "Hey, dude, you have a freebie. Tell the world about it." And I said, okay, you're right. I forgot. So there you go. There's a graphic on the screen. For those of you who are watching the podcast who get both the video and audio portion of it, this is for the free audiobook narration reference guide. This is my free gift to you. And basically, I've lined out, it's a PDF download, and I've lined out some really good tools and tips for you, both from the practical aspect and the emotional and intangible aspect of doing a great audiobook narration. So grab this, please. It's my gift to you. For those of you who are just hearing the audio portion of the podcast, here's the link. It's bit.ly/narration reference guide. Again, that's bit.ly/narration reference guide. So grab your freebie. It's my gift to you. Again, you can always go to robertlanecoaching.com as well. It's there on the homepage, but I just wanted to get that out to you as well. One more thing that I do want to share with you, and that is, since I am an audiobook coach and producer, action takers are success makers. That's my other catchphrase that I say all the time. So if you are a nonfiction author, you have a published book out there, and you are thinking about turning it into an audiobook, I would love to work with you. And your first action step is this, which is super simple, and that is to schedule a free audiobook consultation call with me. You will talk with me directly, and we'll talk about your book. We'll talk about your marketing strategies, again, exclusive, non-exclusive, that type of thing. I will give you definitely more detail about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program, which is a 6-week program, okay? So you will record, narrate, and be published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple Books by the end of the 6-week program. So the first step, schedule a call. Let's have a conversation. I'm not going to force you to sign. If you resonate with me and I resonate with you, and we're willing to work together, which is why I want to talk to you first, and I talk to every potential client first this way, because it's a business relationship. I don't believe in just sending you a link and we have to scroll for like miles and miles and miles of pages just to sign up. No, I want to talk with you first. So schedule a free call. All right. It's another bit.ly link, bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. Okay. bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. Schedule your call. We'd love to talk with you about your book. Just wrapped up working on a great book. And I'm so excited to have this launched in probably about a week. It'll be live on Audible, Amazon, and Apple. And I would love to have your book launched as well. So anyway, just wanted to get that out there. We'll put up those graphics, and I'll give you those links again a little bit later on in the podcast. But we are talking about audiobook awareness. And when you are recording your audiobook, awareness is so high on the priority list, okay? Awareness, being aware of your surroundings. You have to be aware of your surroundings when you're recording your audiobook. Now, of course, we talk about this in the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program. It's in my video lessons. It's on our one-on-one coaching calls that we do. We do weekly calls as well. But we talk about this a lot because being aware of your surroundings is really important. So when you set up your recording space, okay, you're ready to go. You need to make sure that, number one, you have no distractions, that you're not going to be disturbed, and that you can focus on the one job at hand, and that is doing a great narration. That's it. But you have to be aware of your surroundings. Okay, so when you're recording your audiobook, don't have any distractions with you, near you, in your room, in your recording space. If you live with other people and, let's say I'm going to spend the next hour working on my audiobook, let them know. It says, please don't disturb me. Okay, I'm going to focus on recording. All right. Don't have pets in your room. Don't have your cell phone in your room, because those are all distractions. And if you hear a dog collar shaking, or if your phone pings, guess what? That's going to be being caught in your microphone. And if you hear it, I will hear it. And 9 out of 10 times, it'll be something that I'm not going to be able to edit out of your narration, and you're going to have to go back and redo that. So you need to really be aware of your surroundings. So eliminate distractions is number one. And the other thing just to be aware of is what's going on. If a plane flies by, or maybe you're in an area where a big truck drives down the street and rumbles, and if you can sense it or hear it, the microphone is going to sense it and hear it as well. All right, so if you hear anything like that, or if the gardener's working across the street and fires up that leaf blower or lawnmower, guess what? That's going to get into your microphone. So just pause, take a break, wait for the sound to go away, and then resume recording. All right, it happens, especially when you're set up in your own recording space, but that's okay. It's all part of the process. But audiobook awareness, right? That's our topic. You got to be aware of what's happening around you. Okay. Don't try to plow through it. If you hear a door slam, if you hear, talking in the background in another room, if you can hear it, your microphone's going to pick it up. And if your microphone picks it up, it's not going to be usable audio. Okay. So be very aware of your surroundings and what's going on in the ambience, whether it's outside or in your room that you're recording in, or maybe outside of your room, of anything that may be picked up by your microphone. Okay, so being aware of that is just super, super important. Okay, the other thing to be aware of is your physical body. How are you feeling? Okay, how are you sounding? If you're recording your audiobook and you start to make a lot of mistakes, it's because you're starting to get fatigued, right? Your concentration may be dropping because you're tired. All right. Your voice may start to sound tired. If your voice, you feel like it sounds different, 45 minutes into your audiobook than it did when you first started, remember, consistency is key. We want consistency. We want everything to sound, consistent and the same in regards to tonality and levels. And of course, as we say, the intangibles as well, the energy and the emotional aspect of it. If you're starting to feel tired, people are going to sense that, all right? They're going to know. They're going to feel it and they're going to hear it. Sometimes it's really subtle. And maybe somebody who's listening to your audiobook may not know why something doesn't sound right, or maybe they feel like it's not as engaging for them. That's why. It's that subtlety of an energy drop. It's that subtlety of maybe feeling distracted. Remember, these are the intangibles. These are the things that maybe you don't physically touch, but you can feel. And especially if you are emotionally feeling that, your listener is going to emotionally feel that. If your energy is dropping and you're feeling fatigued and your voice is feeling fatigued, stop. Take a break. Take a breather. Step outside. Give yourself some time to refocus, to get regrounded, to get back into the present moment. If for some reason, maybe your voice is just sore that day, or maybe, and I get this a lot, allergies. Oh man, this time of year is allergy season, and it affects me quite a bit. And I know a lot of authors, just a lot of people in general, who just have to deal with a lot of allergies. So when you're recording your audiobook, if you are having a bad allergy day, maybe that's not the best day to sit down and record your audiobook, right? Maybe you need to push it to the next day when you're feeling better, when your voice is sounding the way you want it to sound. Because again, as I say, consistency is key. And if people are listening to your audiobook and they hear, especially if it's a significant change in the quality of your voice, it's a distraction. Okay, that is a distraction, and that'll take somebody out of the moment. Look at it as a comparison to watching a movie, right? If you're watching a movie and if the audio doesn't sound right, or even if the picture, if there's something that isn't quite right, it takes you out of the film. When I was doing a lot of audio editing, because I've got 20 plus years experience of doing this for audio post-production for film and TV, and obviously voiceover work and narration in audiobooks. And I'd be working on some films, especially when I would help with student films. I tell you, audio is one thing that a lot of people just don't think much about, but it is such a vital and important factor of the entire film. You can have great actors, you can have great video. Oh, it looks fantastic. But if the audio doesn't sound good, it's going to take you right out of the moment. And the same thing can happen when you are recording your audiobook. So again, consistency is key. Making sure you sound good and you feel good physically and mentally, because all that translates into your narration. So something just to be super aware. All right. We got one more break to take here on the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. When we come back, I want to wrap up what we've been talking about in regards to things to be aware of when you're doing your audiobook. And then again, just want to give you a little more information about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program that I teach. So don't go away. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. I'm your host, Robert Lane, with Robert Lane Coaching. We'll be right back.
Did you know that your beliefs create your entire reality, but it's the subconscious beliefs that do most of the creating? Belief shifter and life coach Shiraz can help you identify those limiting beliefs and eliminate them, often in a single session.
Like, it was almost instant. Like, I had relief right away.
Creating better health, relationships, careers, and finances. Let Shiraz help you step out of safety and into awareness.
Definitely something's happening. It's like a flow inside. It feels good.
Whether in person or online, Shiraz provides personal coaching, belief shifting. Visit Shiraz at energeticmagic.com or call 416-529-7429. Energetic Magic on the BBM Global Network, Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Find your greater happiness. Be well. Be aware. Be magical. What if there were a super tiny device that could diagnose the brain and is smaller than a single human hair? What if you could see inside the brain to help an epilepsy patient during surgery or to help the fight against Parkinson's disease? Dr. Patricia Broderick is proud to announce the Broderick Probe, a biomedical and electronic breakthrough. Imagine a probe to help with the understanding and potential cure of brain-related diseases. To learn more, listen live to the Easy Sense radio show with host Dr. Broderick, Wednesdays 7 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave Media Network and TuneIn Radio. And to help support the Broderick Foundation, please go to EasySense.com and learn how, with your help, we can fight these horrific brain disorders. That's EasySense.com to learn more and help support the Broderick Foundation.
All right. We are back on the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. It's funny. I have really good conversations with the engineering staff. What can I say? We talk music. We talk about other things as well. Maybe we'll share some of those with you at some point, but not today because we're focused on audiobook and audiobook awareness. That is our topic for today. Just want to wrap up some of the things that we've covered in regards to things to be aware of with audiobooks. Again, the industry is growing and expanding, and it has been over the last several years. If you're a nonfiction author, you got a published book and you don't have it as an audiobook, you definitely need to tap into that market. It's a whole world waiting to hear you, and a whole world that is maybe not even familiar with your book, and it'll just boost sales not only with your audiobook, but it will more than likely boost sales and revenue for your ebook, paperback, and hardcover as well. Okay, so just be aware that the audiobook world is growing and expanding. Also, be aware of your marketing strategies. What works best for you? Again, I focus on having my clients be published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple, because those are the 3 distribution platforms that you definitely need to be on. But depending on what your marketing strategy is, if you are having success with other distribution platforms as well, definitely be on them, which is something to be aware of. And of course, most importantly, embrace your author brand. You're an author. This is your brand. This is your business. Okay, treat your author brand as a business. You're not a hobbyist. You're a professional. If you have a published nonfiction book out there, you're a professional. Even if you wrote it, as a side hustle because you still have a 9-to-5 job, doesn't matter. You're still a professional author. You're still a professional writer. Embrace your author brand. Okay, and even more important than that is you, as an author, as a nonfiction author, need to narrate your own audiobook. Okay, you need to do it. No one can replicate you. That's what makes you so unique. That's what makes your book so unique. Your unique style, your unique voice is already in your written word. So by you narrating your own audiobook, it just makes sense that you should be the one telling your story. No one can tell it better than you. So I just want to, again, go over some of the details about the Your Book, Your Voice audiobook coaching program that I do teach. Again, the first step, as I mentioned, action takers are success makers. There's the catchphrase. Schedule a call with me. I would love to speak with you about your book and give you more details about the program and get you enrolled. Now, the way the program works is this, all right? First of all, we talk about setup and preparation, and I help you set up your own recording space. And with that, when you enroll in the program, I provide you with the professional equipment that you need to set up your space. Professional microphone, professional headphones. We go over the recording program that you will be using, and it's very step-by-step, very methodical. There's video lessons that you will have access to. There are downloads for you as reference guides. But most importantly, I'm there for you as your audiobook coach, as we have our one-on-one weekly coaching meetings to make sure that you're on target, to meet your goals. And I'm holding you accountable, absolutely, because I'm your support system. I am your accountability partner, and I will teach you everything that you need to do to set up your own recording space. All right, that's the first phase. The second phase is teaching you the fine art of narration, how to do it, how to be compelling, how to be engaging, really doing a deep dive on that. And again, mindset is so important. You have to be in the right frame of mind before you hit that record button. Because again, as I mentioned earlier, consistency is key. You want to keep your audience engaged as they listen to you narrate your audiobook from opening credits to closing credits. And to have them engaged is by you being conversational, but most importantly, authentic. You have to be your authentic self. Now, as you record your audiobook, my coaching hat comes off, my audio editing hat comes on, because you will be sending me your audio files. And this is where I do all the audio editing. I clean them up and make sure they meet the exact specifications for publication. So you are guaranteed 100% to be published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple with no problem at all. Not only will I do all the editing for you, I will upload the files into Audible, Amazon, and Apple for you, so you don't even have to worry about it. So there will be no issues with getting you published. Now, all the final mastered audio files are sent back to you and for you to keep, and you can use them for whatever you want to use them with. If you decide to distribute on other platforms later on, you have it. You're ready to go. And of course, you own everything 100%. No royalties go to me or anybody else, right? There are some companies who take a cut of your sales. There's some companies where you have to pay the narrator. If you were having a narrator, they want a cut of the sales as well. I don't do that. You 100% own your audiobook outright. Plus, you're the author. You're the one narrating it, so you don't even have to worry about having another narrator. And then we also do talk about marketing strategies, how to put together a launch team and get the word out that you're launching this audiobook, which will help boost sales. One more thing that I do want you to be aware of is this. If you have a book that you've written, maybe you wrote it 3 years, 5 years ago, 10 years ago even, what best way to resurrect this book? Don't let it die on the vine, right? Bring it back to life. When you turn it into an audiobook that you narrate, you're bringing it back to life. You're putting new ears and eyes to this book that you've already published. It's a great thing. Let people know that you have all this great product out there as your author brand. Remember, you're the brand. This is your product. If you have more than one book, great. Turn it into an audiobook. Narrate it. All right. Do it, because I'm telling you, what a great way to get people to rediscover this great book that you've published. All right. So that's basically what I do. The course, I should say the program, it's really a program. The audiobook coaching program is 6 weeks. So you will go from setup and preparation to narration to publication. All your files will be uploaded by the end of the 6-week program, and then you will be published on Audible, Amazon, and Apple, guaranteed. All right. Again, if you want more information, go to robertlanecoaching.com. If you want to book a call, we're going to put that graphic up again because I would love to have you schedule a call with me, because this goes to my calendar. Okay. So go ahead and book a call. I will talk with you and you will talk with me directly. And that link is bit.ly/audiobook onboarding. Goes to my calendar. Schedule your call. All right. And real quickly, I do want to put up the other graphic about the freebie, where you can grab my free audiobook narration reference guide, which is at bit.ly/narration reference guide. All right, my friends, we're just about ready to wrap things up for this edition of the podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in. My last assignment to you is this. When you're out and about in the world, say hello to a stranger, smile at them, maybe give them a compliment, because that small gesture of kindness can make the world a difference in somebody's day. So with that, my friends, be good humans. This is the Your Book, Your Voice podcast. I'm Robert A. Lane with Robert Lane Coaching. Again, Robert Lane Coaching is my website. Check it out. We are streaming live on the Bold Brave TV network. Thank you so much for joining, and we'll be talking to you next week, my friends. Take care.
This has been Your Book, Your Voice with host Robert A. Lane. Tune in each week for another powerful and informative episode of Your Book, Your Voice, Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern on the Bold Brave TV network.